I was just going to say, may the force be with you.
Hello, everybody. I am so excited to be here and welcome all of you guys to Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker live stream fan Q&A. I'm Tiffany Smith, and some of you guys may know me as the Smith Lord. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. When they told me where we were doing this from, I couldn't think of a more perfect place. We are here at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, and I'm here, of course, with some faces that you guys all know, but I'm going to give a huge intro to everybody here. We'll go down the line. Of course, we've got J.J. Abrams, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, Oscar Isaac. We've got Kelly Marie Tran. You're like, and me, Carrie Russell. And, of course, you guys, we've got Anthony Daniels. Oh, a clap round.
Thank you.
Yes. And, of course, we've got Naomi Aki all the way over there. How are you guys doing this morning?
Great.
Very good. So, for me being a huge fan, obviously, this is the end chapter in the Skywalker saga. It's such a huge deal. The whole story has been 42 years in the making. So, for each of you guys, what does it feel like for you to be a part of this legacy?
Fantastic.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah, strange, life-changing experience.
To able to have contributed to this crazy cultural phenomenon and to be a part of telling the last portion of this massive story, it's pretty surreal.
And doing it from the park. Like, how does that, I mean, it feels really full circle. How is it for you, JJ, coming
Well, it's
into
always
it?
a bit weird coming here because it's so much like the sets that we shoot on. In fact, in the Millennium Falcon, it's almost exactly like the set, but there are no steps where there should be, so there are these like imperceptible differences, but it's incredible how similar it is to
A little bit of PTSD, like, oh my God, they're gonna...
What time is it? It's a ride?
You're like, who's someone
it's a
touching
ride?
me up? What does it feel like for you guys, being new to this world, being a part of the legacy?
Street cred. Major street cred.
You got it.
Right? Yeah. Be street. Okay.
Yeah. You've gotten cooler with some of your friends and fam.
Definitely. Like from everyone from like every child in my entire neighborhood to like my trash guys. They're like, yo, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? I know, I know. Everyone.
I'm waiting to hear it. He's like, so I get the garbage from Carrie's house, and she told me da-da-da-da.
I love those guys. Yeah.
All right, so enough questions from me. Of course, we got fan questions. People sent in ones for each of you guys, so I'm going to jump into those. So our first one is for you, Daisy, from Thomas on Instagram.
Oh, hey, Thomas.
He asks, what has been the most valuable piece of advice you've gotten during the making of these last 3 films?
I can't really think of like advice as such, you know, but I definitely feel like going into this one, I wanted to make sure, because the first one was such a whirlwind, I can't remember a lot of it. So I definitely wanted to be more present. So I was really like feeling the experience, which I did. So that was advice I gave to myself. And it was a great piece of advice.
It's made me wiser. I give myself all the advice.
No need to learn from others.
Is that what you're like, that's what she's like now that we're done?
I am the teacher now.
I mean, the Padawan becomes the Jedi. Okay, so John, we have a question for you from Warrior Donut. Did you give her any advice?
No. Never. This girl, she doesn't need it.
I don't believe you for a second.
You do some nice harmonies together.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
that's true.
we do.
Yes,
That's
we
true.
do.
Yeah.
We do.
We're on this journey together.
Yeah.
I love it.
Since
From the
day dot.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Warrior Donut on Instagram asks, this being the last in the saga, what will you miss most about being Finn?
Interactions. Finn's the character that meets, kind of like introduces all the new characters into like the world that they've established from The Force Awakens. So it's like, I love the fact that I get to kind of interact with all the new characters, and much like it is on set where, you know, I've experienced maybe 1 or 2 films and then Kelly's come on or Naomi's come on. It's nice to be able to Finn as a character who's experienced a transition as well to help guide the characters, and that's always been really, really cool.
I would say that I was like, aren't you going to miss doing the like classic Finn? Woo!
Oh, no. I'm sure I will, you know, rebrand and try.
Every character you play from now on.
Every character.
He has trademarked
I'm
that.
trademarking
You're gonna start your new acting classes like
Very good.
doing woos
The
with
woos,
different
yes.
intention behind
the only
it.
reason why I'm an actor.
I love it. Okay, so Oscar, we have a question for you from Twitter. What is the biggest and best memory you have of being in Star Wars?
Biggest and best. Well, it's impossible because each one has had just such incredible moments. I think for me the biggest and best is getting to work with my friends and making real, true friendships. You know, with John, with Daisy, with Anthony.
Definitely, man. Come on, baby. Come on. Don't say his name, don't clap.
You know, and you know, working with JJ, you know, with everybody. It's just been. I think that for me is a thing that'll continue on and on and on, even more so than the epicness of the story. So
I love it so much because for me, being a fan, it's like you become family with Star Wars fans,
Yeah.
and then seeing all of you guys become a family, it's really, I love it. I love it so much. So JJ, we have a question for you from Matt G on Instagram. As a fan of Star Wars, what did it feel like knowing you were closing this journey for the characters and stories that you grew up with?
Well, it was a bit surreal, just at all, to be doing it. It was surreal because I wasn't supposed to be doing this movie, so suddenly to be back working with these amazing people felt like a total blessing. And then it felt like a responsibility to make sure we were telling a story that was funny and exciting and thrilling and really moving and you know, like touching. And it's the end of 3 trilogies, so it had to wrap everything up, and that was a lot. But I was surrounded by not just this amazing cast, but by the most remarkable crew and the producers and my co-writer. It's like the whole thing was just everyone knew, and I think was in it for the same thing, to finish it out right. And so we did the best that we could to do that.
I love it. So in this new chapter, obviously, we're meeting new characters, which I'm super excited about as well. I've got a question for you, Naomi, from Alicia on Instagram.
Alicia.
What is it like being a part of this big family?
Oh, it's madness. You know what's weird? It's because I remember watching Force Awakens and seeing Daisy and John and being like, oh my gosh, like, they're great. And like, what must that feel like? And like, and then suddenly, no, it's mad. And like, yeah, it's insane. And it's such a blessing. And I can only thank JJ and everyone for being so supportive and
Being your inspiration has been me being your inspiration.
Calling it back to, did John give you any advice? He was like, yes, I always do.
no, just give me some advice. I don't know if I took it all the time.
It's a general.
I love it. When you said you saw The Force Awakens, did you write down or think for a minute, like, I'm going to be a part of one of these at some point?
No way. Like, that's it. Like, it's it's one of those things that you don't really ever think to even dream about doing. So I was just happy for these guys and was like, that's cool. Yeah. I was going to carry on doing my theater and stuff. So
Naomi is spectacular in the movie, and I'll say that like maybe the craziest thing was just how weirdly effortless it was, or it seemed, for you to click in with them. You were just so grounded and solid, and you're really amazing.
thanks, Jake.
I was like, sad face emoji, but like happy face at the same time. Okay, so Kelly, we have a question for you from Twitter. She says, I personally find Rose Tico's line, "We win not by fighting what we hate, but by saving what we love," incredibly inspiring. So what lessons did Rose Tico teach you?
Whoa, deep. Lots of lessons.
Heavy hitters.
Yeah. I think there is a vulnerability and a ability to look past things that can be painful or resentful and lead from love that Rose does, that I'm trying to do every day. That's probably the biggest lesson.
Yeah. I think it is something too that when you watch these films, you can get life lessons out of them, which is so wonderful, because a lot of times you don't think about that when you're watching films. With this one in particular, it's like you get all the fun, but you can actually learn and grow as a person if you want to.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got you down there, sir. Anthony, we've got a question from Sophie on Twitter. What has been your favorite scene to film throughout all the years?
That's hard.
It's a tough one, I feel like.
Scenes that I've been in. Actually, everybody including this bunch, kind of bully 3PO a little bit. You know, they take the mickey a little bit. Oscar. Not you. Not you. Oscar.
Yeah.
But way back it was Han Solo who used to kind of, you know, push 3PO around a bit. And in episode 6, Han Solo's hanging over a fire and the Ewoks are lighting it, and Solo says to 3PO, who's sitting enthroned in a throne, as you do, what are they saying, 3PO? And he says, "It appears, Captain Solo, that you are to be the main course at a banquet given in my honor." And you could see Harrison's face just really hating this line. I loved it. But I've got to say publicly, do you know how many times you rescued me on the set? Because we had some very uneven surfaces, whether they were fields or the sand, the desert, whatever. You guys, and on the speeder, you guys were regularly stopping me falling over. Do you remember?
Yeah.
You were my really caring, not you so much.
I watched it happen.
And then you laughed. Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, Carrie, we've got a question for you from Helen on Twitter. In your opinion, what is the thing that makes Star Wars so special?
So many things. I mean, it's just such a current, our version of mythology for all of these generations, and it's one of those true stories that you can read into whatever you need to feel or learn from, or it's just a true mythology story that continues, and that's what I love about it.
Good answer, good answer. I'm not like I'm judging your guys' answers. Okay, so we've got a heavy hitter one for you, JJ. Are you ready?
Oh, great.
Okay, this is from Madeline on Twitter. It's not it. She says, in Rise of Skywalker, how have the character dynamics changed in the 1-year time jump?
Well, it's an interesting thing because, you know, for example, Rey and Poe essentially are only in one scene together, really, so far in this trilogy. So no one has ever really seen them together. So what's one of the things I think is really fun about this movie is coming in to see how not just the, you know, Finn and Poe dynamic has evolved, and obviously, you know, between, you know, Rose and Finn and even, you know, Rey and Rose, but also the fact that these characters get to be in scenes together and you really feel that time has passed and they've developed a kind of relationship, and there's a great spark and dynamic between all of them. And to me, the most fun about this movie is getting to see the whole gang on an adventure together. And, you know, everyone has their role and their part, but, you know, to have that group adventure, that was always sort of at the heart of what Star Wars, you know, was for me. So I was really happy to get to do that or be part of that in this movie.
Yeah. It felt like the old ones, like with Han Solo and like their banter and like the running and the it felt like that to me.
And I have to say, this is why you're the writer-director of this one, because you answered the question, gave no spoilers, and turned it around to, I just like seeing everyone together. Which was awesome.
That's a brilliant answer.
It really was. Okay, so we've got another one for you, Isaac, from Captain Endorable. Good name on Instagram. What is your favorite droid of all time? I'm going to venture a guess that it's not the one sitting up here.
I'm going to go with Gonk droid. I like the Gonk droid a lot.
Is who?
Gonk droid?
Is that the Resistance?
What does that look like?
Bless you.
The Gonk droid is just like a big box with like the two little feet.
Yeah.
Didn't say much.
No, it didn't say much.
I like that. I like that.
Nice, well thought out answer. I like it. Funny. Okay, Carrie, we've got a question from Mar on Twitter for you. If you had to pick one song to describe your character, what would it be?
Oh my God.
I feel like this is hard.
Like, I feel like they can hard.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great question. But JJ, help me out with that one. Who would you choose?
You, Russell.
No, you choose something. Oh God.
Did anybody listen to a song to like get into character?
I used to listen to I'll Make a Man Out of You from Mulan.
Oh yeah.
Just because I love that song.
Yeah.
Love the sequence, Mulan finding her strength. Yes.
Yeah. That song, every time I listen to it, I cry. It's really embarrassing. Because it's so good.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring. I'm just sharing some stuff with you guys to give you time to think of your
Awesome. I haven't been in that suit for a long time, but I would say something like really tough and cool.
Maybe like heavy metal.
PJ Harvey or something.
That's a good one.
Stories from the City or something like, you know, that album.
We'll go with that one. Just say that from now on. That's
really great.
That's a good choice.
My embarrassing story gave you enough time to come up with that. Okay, so our next one that we've got, and you guys can kind of each go through if you have a really standout moment. From Girls with Sabers, what was the greatest fan moment that you've experienced?
Oh, I've got a good one.
Yeah.
Because we did the Disney convention, and there was like so many people there that I got very overwhelmed. Like, I'm used to these famous people, but then there was other famous people around. So like, I got really nervous.
Always awkward.
I used to it so strange. And we went back to the hotel, and you go through that weird kind of thing where you're like, God, what am I doing here? Like, this is insane. And like, as soon as I got out of the car and went into the hotel, there was this girl stood there with the poster, and she was like, oh my God, like, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, I'm going to my room. And she was like, I'm so excited to watch the film, and I'm so excited to see your character. And it suddenly like went from like this whole thing that was more about me and my ego to like the point of the whole thing, which is like
your ego again.
And then I was like,
And then back to
circle.
I'm proud of you.
I really just want a whole thing of like advice from John Boyd, lessons for life.
New book out next year.
Do any of you guys have other moments that really have stood out to you along the way as a fan moment?
I mean, this is pretty nuts.
Yeah, this right here is nuts.
Yeah. I mean, the fans that are standing up here.
I had a nice one the other day, a guy of around 30 who had been watching the original Star Wars as a child, maybe 5 or 6 years old. He explained to me that he used to hide behind the sofa so he ducked away from the scary bits. And he was about the age where he was meant to be growing up and like, you know, macho man. But he realized it was okay to be afraid, because the gold man on the screen was afraid too. So if it was okay with him, it was okay. And
What is wrong with you people?
Come on. Don't be brave.
Yes. That's awesome. Okay, so we only have a little bit more time with you guys, so I want to get to one really fun thing that we have. It's the lightning round, Disney version. Basically, we're going to do a little this or that, and I want you guys all to yell out your answers at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say Disney version meaning.
All Disney things.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, I won't ask you what Disney song makes you cry. It's okay. All right, so the first one we have is Dole Whip or Churro?
Churro.
Easy.
Oh, that's like churro across the board. Space Mountain or Splash Mountain?
Space Mountain.
I'm not getting my hair wet.
No, I don't like any of that.
Churro.
JJ's like, I don't go on either. I just eat the churros.
I'm one behind, guys. Keep going.
The next one, corn dog or turkey leg?
Corn dog.
Corn dog.
Turkey leg.
Turkey leg.
Turkey leg.
Are you the only turkey leg?
No.
Oh, you said turkey leg too.
I would say turkey. I don't eat meat.
Tied in solidarity.
Too big to be turkey legs.
That is the whole point.
Nope, don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. The smell is just so good. All right, the next one, Pirates of the Caribbean or the Haunted Mansion?
Haunted Mansion.
The line was too long with it.
Oh, so the Haunted Mansion. Oh, wait, no. Is the Haunted Mansion the one you go down in?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Pirates of the
Pirates. Yeah. I thought you meant Tower of Terror. I love that.
No, just Pirates or Haunted Mansion?
Pirates.
Haunted Mansion at Christmas or just regular Haunted Mansion?
Regular haunted.
Yeah, regular, yeah.
Good answer. Good answer. Fantasyland or Tomorrowland?
Tomorrowland.
That's got the big roller coaster, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
I mean, I feel like you guys you should. The next one, green milk or blue milk?
Blue, the original. Come on.
Blue.
There is no other.
He went
There's no
green, blue. Both of them mixed together. Mix them.
I like teal milk.
Okay, next one is.
Arnold Palmer of.
You know that someone's for sure doing that in the park today. And it's going to be named after you from now on. Phantasmic or World of Color?
I don't know what they are.
World of Color's pretty nice.
I like World of Color.
What is that?
Phantasmic is like the villains. World of Color is
All the water stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I like that one. Yeah, that one.
Mickey Ice Cream Bar or Mickey Waffles?
Mickey Waffles.
Waffles. Isn't the ice cream bar the sandwich?
Isn't Mickey Waffles in the Irish?
They have sandwiches. All right, you guys.
Hey, Mickey Waffle.
Hey, it's Mickey Waffles.
Mickey Waffle.
Listen, I got a question over here. Corn dog and churro.
Corn dog, churro, and a turkey leg. Done.
Corn dog and churro.
All right, you guys, so we have one final question, and I'm just going to preface this by saying, don't use any words, okay? Just facial expression.
Okay.
What was your reaction to the end of the movie? But don't use words, okay? I'm going to count you in, do it all at the same time. Ready?
How does it end?
3, 2, 1. I'm not sure that Daisy was looking around.
After 40 years, this is it.
What are you thinking?
These two here have not broken. This is very serious.
Yeah, very serious.
All right, you guys. Well, I want to say a huge thank you for answering all these awesome fan questions. And you guys watching, don't forget to go see it December 20th in theaters. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Thank you guys all so much, and thank you guys all for being here too.
I think we're done here, right? Are we done here?
We're done here.
Keep our mics on.
I'm sure not.